welcome to episode 15 of the MindFit Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Ant Marino, and welcome to this episode. I've been away for a little bit, just had a bit of a break, was focusing on some other things in my life, but now I'm back raring and ready to go. So this episode is with a lady by the name of Kelly Mercieca, and she is an animal communicator. She owns a business called Kelly's Animal Communication, and basically what Kelly does is she connects and communicates to animals energetically through her intuition and telepathically to basically communicate with them to find out what's going on for them. So let's say your dog has something going on and you can kind of sense something going on, but you don't really know what's happening and you want to find out. Well, like, you can't actually communicate to the dog, but Kelly can. So you hire Kelly, and then she communicates to your dog, and then she communicates back to you. So basically, you can get an understanding of what's going on for your dog, and if it's feeling some sort of discomfort or it's going through some sort of trauma. So then you know the best action to move forward. So yeah, guys, a bit of a different episode today. Not so much, I guess, around mental health for humans, but more mental health for animals. But I guess it can also play a big part in a human's life as well, because if your pet's feeling like crap, then you're probably going to feel like crap because you're worried about it. So I thought I'd just get Kelly on here and dive into what she does and share it with you guys, and hopefully we can have healthier, happier pets as well as healthier, happier humans. One other thing, guys, since I've been away from the podcast, I've been focusing on setting up my intuitive life coaching business. So basically, my soul's purpose is to help as many people as possible to help them better their lives. And I'm doing that through intuitive life coaching. So basically, I use my intuition to tap into your intuition, and I help guide you to uncover what you truly desire in life and uncover the things that are actually stopping you from getting to those desires. I would really appreciate it if you went and followed me on Instagram at AntMarino1, and you can add me on Facebook. It's just Ant Marino, and would love to connect with you there. And if anything resonates with you guys, I'd love for you to share it around. And if you would like to work with me, you can book a free clarity call through the link in my bio. And yeah, I'd really love to connect and chat with you and see if I can help serve you. One other thing, I would really appreciate it if you guys could give this podcast a review if you enjoyed this episode. Give it a like and share it with family member and your friends. And please subscribe to wherever you are watching or listening to this podcast. Thank you so much, guys, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Bye. Hello and welcome to the MindFit Movement Podcast. Welcome back. I've been away for a while, and just gonna get right back into it. And my first guest, a lady by the name of Kelly Mercieca from Kelly's Animal Communication. And basically, I'm not going to try and explain what she does. So Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And
glad to be here.
Yeah, glad you can be here too. I'll get you just to kind of introduce yourself a little bit and what you do with Kelly's animal communication.
Okay. So what I do is I communicate with animals energetically using all of my senses. So like I can smell, taste, feel, hear, and see, like images, and that's how they talk to me. so telepathically. And I also do healing, like Reiki healing, and that can help animals in all different situations.
Okay. So it sounds pretty cool. Sounds pretty woo-woo, but I'm about woo-woo because
That's good.
I've really started to harness my woo-woo in the last year or so. So if you say you communicate with animals,
Yes.
in which way do you communicate with them? And like, why do you kind of need to communicate with the animals?
Okay. So the way I communicate is I do have like I have studied as well, although I was born, and most people, we are all born with it, but we usually lose a lot of our psychic sort of intuitive abilities because of society. So it's kind of just bringing that back and harnessing it. And that's how I connect with them so intuitively. And then I will go through a process, especially when doing it professionally. I go through a process of steps, like grounding myself. I do a lot of meditation, and then I will connect with the animal energetically, and I will ask for their permission to speak to them. So it isn't like, because I also do psychic readings for people, but it is different because I actually am talking to the animal, not reading them. So it's just like how we're talking now, except it's sending images. So I will send. So I send them what I'm wanting to know or ask the question, and they'll send it back to me. So it is two-way.
Yeah.
And you asked why, didn't you?
Yeah. So like what circumstance would you need to communicate with an animal?
Okay. So some examples or some clients that I have worked with would be if they are going through a traumatic situation. So say an animal is transitioning. So it doesn't have to be an older animal. Sometimes it can be just a sick animal. So transitioning where they might be going to like leave their body soon. So I don't replace a vet, but I can help their owner understand. So it's from the animal's perspective, which animals they can't tell you. So this is where the role of an animal communicator comes in. And we kind of fill that role of, okay, they might have other information from a vet or anyone else, and we respect that, and that all should be taken into consideration. But then we can give them that sort of that gap of how the animal's feeling emotionally. I can give pain levels, energetic, like how I will check in with the animal, and so I give them a pain level if they're in pain. So that's another way when they're sick, or say there's a change in the home, like moving, and it's hard on a human to move. So preparing an animal, and I have worked with several animals. Last year with a cat who her mum was moving. So I spoke to the cat several times, also did some healing, and that helps them feel safer and be able to get used to what's happening. Or, a new baby. Sometimes there's just maybe like digestive issues with an animal, and it may not be a medical reason, it's emotional. So I can help with that. With surgeries, like some animals have had surgeries, so healing can help with that. And I can also tell the client how the animal's feeling, because they can only guess. So that's some situations that I help with clients. Yeah. Wow. And I speak to and it's all animals. Yeah. So I've worked with birds, like I've had clients with birds, horses, dogs, cats. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It is.
Yeah. No. Okay. Do you have like a favorite animal?
No, that's really hard. Like, I feel so blessed to be able to do the work that I do, because I also work like by distance. So I have clients all over the world, which is great. So I use a photo, and that's how I connect to them. Okay. I look at all the photos, and I do in person in Sydney, but I look at the photos and I say, we are so blessed with so many amazing animals. I can't say, like, because I love dogs and cats. So like, some people say they're either a dog or a cat person. I don't have a preference. I love both.
Yeah.
They're both different. And each animal has its own personality, like a person too. So you can't just say, oh, cats are like that, because they're not. They might have similarities.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I love birds in the wild as well, and a lot of birds are very drawn to me. So I get a lot of messages from birds as well.
Okay.
So if we're talking about, I guess, in that instance, birds are something that I've always admired and loved, but not necessarily just domesticated, which I do love, but wild birds, which will just, I'll just be walking along and they'll just land. And I get a lot of messages from spirit, I guess, through animals, through birds as well, for me personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's so hard to say what's my favorite animal. I love them all.
So has this been something that you've known since you were a kid? Like, were you getting messages from animals as a kid, or is it kind of something that's happened in your later life?
It's a good question. I have always been highly sensitive and intuitive, not always fully aware that I was actually doing it. So, and I've always had a close connection with animals, and I've had a lot of different animals. So, not really fully open to it. No, I mean open to it, but not understanding that that's what I would have been doing. So, no, I sort of developed it and kind of took me back and helped me learn and understand a lot of things that were happening as a child that I didn't have an explanation for. So sort of once I went on my spiritual path, I guess, I just was another thing that I learned and added to what I can do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a lot of healing involved with it, but with doing the work that I do, not only, is it communicating with animals, but it means that I have to do a lot of self-healing and focus on myself as well. So there's a great advantage to being able to do this as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was just kind of picturing like you being a kid, just like, like if your family's like going for a walk and then you just kind of wander off into the bushes, into a tree, and just start talking to a bird. And then your parents are like, what the hell's going on? What?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, my mum, I love my mum, we're very close, but yeah, I was always different to my other siblings in that I was highly sensitive. So I was a little misunderstood as a child, but I didn't really I just did have a close connection with animals, being highly empathetic and that. So I would have felt their emotion. I would have felt all that because I didn't know any different, but I probably would have thought it was my emotions. And so that's the thing about learning as you get older, separating it.
Yeah.
And it's not yours, but I wouldn't have known when I was a kid that.
Yeah, for sure.
So always closely connected and to nature as well. And I did, I had friends, but I did do a lot of things on my own as well. Like even as a child, it didn't bother me if I was when I was probably out doing that, I was just like doing whatever I wanted, connecting to animals in that way, just not fully understanding it.
Yeah. And for anybody that's listening, I just want to, and you're wondering what she's talking about, being a highly sensitive person and taking on other people's emotions. It's something that I'm the exact same, and I never understood it until, over the last kind of year or two. And basically, being a highly sensitive person means that when you're in a room full of people, you can take on everybody else's emotions that's going on around you, and it can be quite exhausting. And it's tricky because you don't know what's going on, and you start to feel really, really drained and emotionally drained. I'm not sure if this is experience for you as well, Kelly, but this is my experience. I can feel really, really drained, and sometimes I can feel like really sad or really crappy, even though I've just been to a place where I've just had a really good time. And it's awfully confusing until I did learn about it. And basically, there's people in that room that are projecting off their their energies, and you're soaking it in, and it's not always good. So, but
That's a great explanation.
yeah,
That's exactly how it felt until I understood.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been really good for me to go down that path and understand that as well.
I love that. Thank you. Great explanation. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So if let's say somebody has a really old dog, would they start to kind of show signs of them about to die? Like, would they try and communicate to their um, to their owners, to their family, that they're about to die, or that something like that? Because, for example, my dad's dog, we were looking after her. Her name's Summer, and she was 16, so she had a really good innings. And um, yeah, we had her staying at my place while Dad was on holidays, and she escaped one night, and then the pound picked her up, and we thought it was because of the fireworks. And then the next night, she escaped again, um, and she never escaped. Like, we could leave gates open and she wouldn't go out. Like, she knew that she wasn't allowed to go out,
Mm-hmm.
but she escaped and then walked onto the freeway and got hit by a car, which is crazy because that's just so out of character for her. So in that situation, do dogs go somewhere else to die? Do they try and communicate to their owners that they're going to go off and die, or
Yes, and I just got goosebumps as you said that, because that's very emotional and a big story about your dad's dog, Summer. Yes, so I, from my experience, yes, I have seen that. And like with animals, like I have a client where she had never gone away, and she went away, and then her cat died while she was away in boarding, and she felt so guilty. But that was meant to happen that way. Yeah, because so the animals kind of do choose, and sometimes they do that so the decision doesn't have to be made by the owner, because the owner may not be able to make it, or they just don't want to put that pressure on them. So that sounds like with Summer, she was ready and she was like, I'm not gonna put that pressure on them. I don't, I'll find my own solution. Because how could you explain otherwise what she did, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So so when we look at it from that perspective, that's amazing. How smart are they? And connecting on a soul level, because obviously as an animal here on earth, like humans, we have our soul, and then we're human, so we still have our human traits, just like an animal. They're very childlike, but if we go into that soul level, they definitely can make decisions like that. Some clients have had where they might have a dream about the animal and get a message that way, or from a passed over like relative that they have, like a human. They may get a message from them about their animal. So sometimes they're prepared when that something's going to happen. So yeah, it's unique to every situation, but I definitely do believe that they can show signs to prepare the owner. And sometimes they won't leave until the owner is ready. And a lot of the time they will hold out for the owner until they are ready, because the animal is so loyal that they worry more about the human.
Yeah, right.
And they don't want to leave them. So that's where I kind of can help too. I will never make that decision, but I do talk to clients, and support them in that area and tell them how their animal's feeling. Like, because some animals are just so very tired, they're worn out. It's not fun for them anymore, because animals come to have fun. I mean, humans too, but we get a bit sidetracked and forget that sometimes.
Yeah.
But animals don't. They say, well, if my body's no use to me anymore, they really don't want to be here. So they will definitely give signs, whether their human is ready to see it or not. And that's where I can also kind of help and, you know, offer that perspective of the animal, and then they can go away and think about, you know, that with, if a vet's given them advice as well, and think about that and make a decision.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And it's very, I mean, I love that I'm able to do that for people and use my skills or my being highly sensitive, being able to use that to help people is amazing, and their animals.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. And I guess a lot of people can get, you know, some closure as well through that, you know, when things don't make sense and, you know, the animal can't actually communicate to the owner. So it's good having that third party in there to be able to communicate back what's going on for the
That's
pet.
right. It's amazing, because I do talk to passed over animals as well. So, and they're some of my favorite. They're really some of my favorite work. Like, although it can be very, you know, I'm there to hold the space for my clients. So, you know, I'm trained to do that, and that's what I do. Although I am human, and I have cried after some sessions and had a little cry if they've had to make a decision whether they're going to put their animal down, and then they'll let me know the next day or whatever, or if I don't hear, I'll check in with them and they let me know, and I've had a little cry over that animal, because I'm still human, right? And but I will always hold that space in that professional manner for them, because that's why I'm there. And that to me, like, is because I love to help people, so, and animals, but it's helping them, the whole family in a whole. So it's great. I'd do that.
So how do people find out about you? Like, how do they go like, oh, my pet's acting weird, or this is happening, I want to know what it's saying? You know, oh, I bet there's somebody that can tell me about it. Like, because I never thought about it until we met on Instagram, and I was like, oh, animal communication, interesting. And then I was like, well, I guess that kind of makes sense. Like, if I can tap into my intuition and then help people, you know, guide them with their intuition and tapping into their stuff, surely you can tap into, you know, an animal stuff. So, like, what makes people just go like, what made people find you? Like, how does it all happen?
Okay, so I have my social media, you know, and I have studied, like, I have a diploma in animal communication. I've studied psychic and spiritual development, plus all my, like, you know, years of spiritual study, even besides the animal communication, everything, just that. So through word of mouth, through social, a lot of my work is repeat clients as well. And because once I've helped them and they know how much I can help them, they come back or they refer someone else to me. So I do get a lot of my work that way, and through social media. So I really try and because I really want to reach the people that can benefit from my work. So I really want to get, it's really important to be out there and to be seen, so that those people that can benefit can find me. Or so that's how I do. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and a few other platforms. I try many things, like I leave information and flyers at vets, at dog grooming places, things like that, where people that love their pets and, you know, want to find out, you know, about their pets and have a question for them. And I've had some clients who are more hesitant. I mean, most people that come to me are obviously more open-minded and spiritual. But as I'm trained to be able to look at how anyone else sees. So, like, I don't want to I want to be able to help people even if that's not their belief system. So I'm always open-minded and respect that as well, so that I can still help people with their animals, if that makes sense, so that they're not be like, oh, I can't go to, I'm very open-minded and respectful of that. But generally most people obviously will be open-minded to what I do, just like
Yeah.
you, right? It's
Yeah.
like, that's cool.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool. I think it's cool. Like, I
Yeah.
do it and I still think it's so cool. And
Yeah.
I still get so much out of when, I get feedback from my client and how much it has helped them. Oh my gosh. Like, I had a client from France 2 weeks ago and I did a healing for her cat. I mean, that was amazing. Yeah. And that's my first client in France, actually. I have them in other countries, but it's the first one there, and an amazing lady. And so it also creates like they can then create a deeper bond with their pet. And that's usually what happens with a session. So that's another benefit, because the animal, knowing that their owner has actually contacted me to talk to them. I mean, how special do you feel then? Like, when someone wants to listen to what you say. So how special does an animal feel when someone has actually made the effort to do that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then, it's pretty cool. And then, I will give, from a session, we'll negotiate things depending on what the situation is, because it will behavioral. I usually will give, I will do the conversation, but there'll be practical tools that I give that they need to work through usually as well.
Yeah.
So that it's not just, the session becomes like, a holistic way of giving them ways to change, and usually benefits the owner as well, because they'll usually have things, both the animal and the person will need to change some things in their lives. It's how any relationship works. It's very much the same, right? It's like they both need to work together then, and that's the whole idea behind my sessions, really, that can't just be like, I want my animal to do this, and I have to explain to people. And generally most people are like that, but you might get some people be like, and it's like, okay, so then I'll go through that and explain that and we can't make an animal do anything they don't want to do, because you can't make a human, and neither should you be able to, because we all have our own free will. So it's explaining that I will never dictate to an animal. It's always done very respectfully and carefully, and explaining kind of to each person, or to the animal and the person, so they have a better understanding, and then we work together, negotiate, and then solutions. Yeah.
Cool. Would you be able to give an example of like an instance, like a situation of how it would go down, like to say like the problem, what somebody's coming to you with, and then kind of what you would do, and then kind of the practical tools that you would give to the owner?
Okay. So say, for instance, I've had a client who they rescued a dog. Now, she was involved in the Bargo bushfires. So, and then she rescued her. So she had surgery and then came to me for healing. So in that instance, she was wanting to know like the pain levels of the animal. So I could give that. And how I also could help was the animal wanted more confidence. So I talked to the animal. In my sessions, I usually do a little bit of healing. Even if it's a communication session, I usually do just a small amount of healing in that as well. So that will help. There are things like flower essences, which, animals like can be given to animals as well, with alcohol free. So there's like practical things, essential oils, like using essential oils, making sure that they're appropriate for that animal, and they're never in an enclosed room with the door closed. So there's some solutions. So that would help with anxiety and emotional issues, them feeling safe. Teaching also the animal to be grounded, and the human, because that's a pretty big thing. So that's some practical things that I would do in a session that would generally help with, because I've worked with quite a few horses as well, and that would be one of the bigger things, understanding why. So yes, I ask them why, and then once you get that answer back, it can be from a previous home, sometimes where they were before, a trauma, even past lives, even with animals, some past lives. That's probably way out there too to some people, but I do believe in past lives and have seen that with animals as well. and they've
Yeah.
given me that
Okay.
information. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Um,
And so, yeah, I
so
would give that. Sorry, I don't know if I fully answered your question. So, yeah, I would give those, I do telephone and email. So I would give those solutions to the owner, and then they would go away and work with them. And then I ask them usually to check in with me in 7 days just to let me know how they're
yeah.
going with that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so you said you do like a bit of a healing through the session. What would like
Mhm.
a healing look like?
Okay, so I'm a Reiki master. So I do Reiki energy healing, and I'm trained to do that with animals and people.
Yeah.
So I will go through my process of doing that, and I do it like by distance, so absently. I just use a photo, and I will connect that way. And there are some clients where they are just healing clients. That's all I do for
Mm.
their, like, I've got several where every week I do a healing for them. So I will check in, do like a 30-minute healing, and then I will get some information from the animal, and then I'll let the client know what their animal has said. Like I've been working with a dog for the last year who had 3 surgeries on his back left leg, and since he's had the healings, like his pain level has gone like from a very high level to
Mm.
much lower. And like his mum says every time he has the healings, she knows. I mean, she knows because I email her, but
Yeah.
she can see it in him physically even. And so that's why, she gets them regularly for him. And he tells me, I feel young, and he can roll on his back. And they may not sound like big things, but to an animal, that's huge, right? Like
Yeah.
I can lay on my back and roll around easier now. Like, so he can now, he's more flexible. I know that he was licking his leg a lot because it felt really like itchy, and it was just all from the healing. So from the healings that I do, that has reduced significantly. Like, so that's one case where, or a couple of cases where it's helped. I was trying to think of, like there's another one where a lady that I've worked with her cat in other instances, but this is where she had to have a hospital visit. So her cat went into boarding. And so I would talk to her cat throughout the week several times, and then let her know how her cat was feeling from the cat's perspective. So that gave them both peace of mind and a connection still, because she got the cat at about, she wasn't like young, she's about 2. So there was an adjustment period, which I helped her through as well. So then when she had to go to hospital, she didn't want that to go backwards. So she's one of my favorite. They're all my favorite clients. I love all my clients. So I've worked a lot with this cat. So like, yeah, I would, do healings on her as well. And so it will just help them balance out. So I work with the chakras. So I don't know if you know what that is. So the energy systems in
Yeah, I know.
humans have them.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we have them and animals have them as well. So that's another thing I work on during a healing session.
But for people that don't know about chakras, would you better give a bit of an explanation, maybe in the animal form?
Okay, so with an animal, they all have their own chakra system, which is quite similar. It's similar to a human's. And so we have like the base, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and then the crown. So I will work balancing those, and I'll use color as well. In a healing, I will also give affirmations. So that will help. And so the client will then say that for their animal, but generally it will also help them as well. So that's where the sessions are really good, though I do offer them for humans as well. And sometimes I will do both. Sometimes they both need a healing to get over something, depending on what it is. Sometimes a healing's enough just on the animal. We kind of, they're all sort of, each session is tailored to each person individually and what they need, I guess. So yeah, and then so I just balance those out. I also use crystals as well with my healing, to add that in, and color, and just balancing the energy. So it's connecting to, so it's not my energy. So Reiki energy healing is grounding myself and connecting to the universe and using universal energy through me. So it comes through me and then to the animal. if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. 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 So yeah, like how important is the the healing part for the owner as much as it is for the dog or the animal, sorry.
Oh, so how for the owner, how important is it,
Yeah,
you
I
mean?
guess I
Like,
guess like how important is it for the relationship for the between the owner and the pet for
mhm.
the owner to have their own healing as well?
Sometimes it's very important. I mean, some of my clients that come already may have their own, because, for years they've had their own healer, so they may go to them. And if they don't come to me for healing, I may suggest that. But if they have their own, that's fine as well, because I will explain to them it's very important. It's very important that they work on themselves as well to help the animal, because our animals can pick up many things from us, like, even my own cat. So like, I do the work on myself as well,
Mm,
and making sure that I keep myself, you know in the best way I can. So that's
yeah.
what I sort of that's what my sessions are also teaching the client, that it's very important,
Mm,
that that they take steps to looking after themselves, because otherwise, yeah, it's impacting on the animal. And that's what's really good, because sometimes they don't even know that. So
mm,
once they see me, it's like, oh, if I change that, that could improve for my animal. So it's like helping them all. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, awesome. Um, so I don't know, did you read my post on Instagram about my puppy experience?
I did. I Is this the one that was very recent that
Yeah,
you went to? Yes, I did read
I
it.
went to pick her up and yeah. So that was a bit of a crazy experience. Like it kind of felt like I was having a baby taken away from me, like because
Yeah,
I'd had the
because you've
dog.
been spending time with her, hadn't you?
Yeah, yeah, I'd had the
So
dog
you've
over.
created a bond.
Yeah, yeah. So for anybody that's listening that doesn't follow me on Instagram, um, basically, I wanted to get a dog, and um, I wanted to get a Labrador, but they're about 4 grand at the moment, and I don't have 4 grand to spend on a Labrador at the moment. So I asked the universe for a dog, um, and I asked it just as a dog, like a really nice dog, a great breed that's a really that's going to be awesome fit for me. So anyway, let that go, and then two months later, um, I meet this lady, and she's got a dog that is pregnant and about to give birth to puppies. And it's a border collie, brown and white border collie, and it was like, oh my god, like this is crazy, because I'd just been talking to my brother's girlfriend the night before. She asked me when I was going to get a dog, and I said, "Well, I've asked the universe, blah blah blah, blah. And I'm just waiting for it to turn up." So she was actually there, and she was patting the dog as I was. We were talking to the lady, and she's just looked at me like, "What?" And then so I asked the lady, um, do the puppies have homes to go to? And she said, "Oh, we've got about 10 people wanting one." She's like, "Do you want one?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I told her the story about the universe and how I've asked for the universe to provide me with a dog. Um, and yeah, basically, um, I got to know her. She invited me around for to meet the puppies, and she said that I can have one because I've got a nice backyard, and I've got um, a like I live an active lifestyle, blah blah blah. Blah. So then I'd been going around every night. Oh, not every night. Sorry, about once a week up until the 5 week mark, and then I go around there with the 5 week mark, and then this puppy runs up to me, and then I pick it up, and it's a girl, and I did a meditation, like a couple of I guess a couple of nights after she said that I could have one, and then I didn't know which one I wanted to get, so I did meditation, and a girl came to me, and then the name Bonnie came to me.
I love that.
So yeah, and so this one runs up to me. It's a girl, and then she's just so calm in my arms. She's just like, I'm just like, oh my god, I fell in love. And then I was like, all right, don't get too attached, don't get too attached. And then I kind of left it, and then a couple of days later, the lady messaged me and asked me if I want to come around and pick a puppy. So I go around there, and there's a lady and her daughter there. Her daughter maybe 13 or 14. She's in the pen playing with the puppies, and she's like as soon as I walked up there, she's like, "Oh, you're picking a puppy, aren't you?" I'm like, "I am." And she said, "Do you want to hold one?" I said, yes, please. So she just grabbed a puppy out of the pack, picked it up, and handed it to me, and it was the exact same puppy.
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh
wow.
my god, it's meant to be." So
See how
then,
the universe works? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then I kind of tapped into my intuition, and then made sure that it was the right one, and it was. So I picked her, and then when I was having her from 5 weeks, or since I picked her, I was having her over every day, every couple of days, or sorry, a couple of days every week,
Yes.
for a play, and to get used to my house and get used to me and get used to being away from the mom and the litter and stuff. So I get attached to this dog, and then I go to pick it up, and then um, as I'm holding her and saying goodbye, um, she's like, "Oh, so what do you want to do about money?" And I was like, "What? What money?" And then she's like, "Oh, the $1,400 that we're selling them for." I'm like, "You never said anything to me about $1,400." And then basically, I couldn't think right then because I was really, really rattled. And I said, "Look, can I just go? And I just need to go and think about this because I'm just really rattled at the moment. I don't know what's going on. I can't think straight." So basically, I went home, and then um, I just didn't want to make an emotional decision. So I wanted it to kind of settle. And I wanted to also speak to my coach about what had gone on just to clear some stuff. And she messaged me about 2 hours later asking me what I wanted to do. And I said, "Look, I can't make a decision just yet. Um, look, it's not about the money, but I just need to make a good decision. And I don't want it to be emotional. Can you wait until Wednesday?" And it was the Monday, so she only had to wait like 1 day, and then she's like, "Oh, because of the age of the puppy, I need to get rid of it." Blah blah. It was only 8 weeks old. Like on the day, it was 8 weeks old, and she wasn't in a rush to get rid of the puppy because people were picking them up on Thursday, and it was friggin' Monday. Anyway, um, woke up on Tuesday from a message saying that um, she's thinking about selling it to somebody else, and it's really sad because you've got a really great bond together. I'm like, I know, but I just need I just need some time. I hope you understand. So then I went and did a session with my coach, and he cleared a whole heap of stuff around what was going on, and then I was clear. I was like, all right, because basically I felt scammed because she never mentioned anything about money. And I just felt really, really, really fucking scammed. And um, like, yeah, like I said, it's not about the money. I was happy to pay money, but I just wanted to make sure that I didn't care about paying money to somebody that I thought was scamming me, basically. So anyway, cleared a whole heap of stuff, and I was like, all right, cool. I actually I want this dog. It's meant to be in my life. The way that everything's happened is just like perfect. Um, the money is, like it's, I don't, whatever, I'll just give her the money. So I went to my phone, and I was going to message her. And then I opened my phone up, and there was a message from her saying she had sold it. And I was like, oh, well, that's really sad because like I just did a session with my coach and cleared a whole heap of stuff. And, um, I'm happy to give you the money. And like I said, it was never about the money. I just needed some time to clear some things up. And she's like, yeah, it is sad. All the best with your search for a new puppy or whatever. So
Mm.
yeah, um,
That's very difficult.
yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. Um, so yeah, I mean, I just want, because I have a feeling that that puppy was bonded to me as well. Like
Mhm.
she she came to me both times. She ran up to me. The 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 girl picked her up. The puppy had to be in the right spot at the right time for the girl to pick her up and pass it to me. I believe she was coming to me, and she is now bonded to me. And now she's been just friggin' flicked off and sold to some other lady and not even cared about. And I really hope that she, um, can live a good life now and not have maybe like a little trauma or something because of what's just happened. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's the thing, like little things add up and they can do that. And I believe animals do pick their owners
Mm,
as well. So you often hear that. So it's very interesting. Your story is very interesting because I relate and I have stories and my own experiences of where animals have definitely picked me. But
mm,
you never know. It may not work out with that owner, the new
mm.
owner. I mean, you just don't know. But yeah, it's definitely hard because she knows you.
Yeah.
She didn't really give you much time to make an informed decision.
Yeah. I know. It was crazy. It was a crazy thing. But yeah, I'm just hoping she does live a good life and all that. And um, curious if there's something that I can do to try and pass on to her, through spirit or something. To
Yes, there is like and it's like when you think of like so when you think of her at any time you think of her and rather than send because obviously it's upsetting and I'm do that even on a human level but have to like switch it up and say okay what can I do
mm,
so sending her love sending her calm and sending her all positive emotions because energy travels it's instant
mm,
so so when you're thinking of her yeah, just sending her love and all those positive, and that's a way you can help her, and it definitely does work.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Um, so taking it right back to kind of where we started about dogs communicating. Oh, sorry,
Hmm.
I keep saying dogs because dogs just on my mind at the moment, but
Yeah.
animals communicating to their owners about something that's like not right, kind of thing. Um,
Yes.
so I've got this other crazy story, um, and it's with my coach, right? So
Mhm.
when I was starting to learn how to be a coach, I was um, basically um, using him to kind of practice, and we were
Yes.
doing we were doing like an intuitive reading kind of thing. So I connected to him, and then things would pop up to me, and um, we I would kind of mention some things, and he'd be after the session, he was kind of like, "Okay, like that's interesting," and he'd be like, "Oh, that really makes sense because this is what's going on in my life at the moment." Blah
Hmm.
blah blah. But anyway, one of the things that came to me was his dog,
Yes.
and I said, "There's something with your dog's collar," and he's like, I don't know what's up, but there's something about your dog's collar. He's not really enjoying it right now. And basically, I think it was maybe 4 days later, I get a phone call from my coach, and he goes, "You would not believe what's happened." I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Well, my dog has been digging holes all around near the pool, and it's just like wrecked all the grass and this and that, and it's just a pain in the ass. I've got to build a fence so that he can't get in from that part to this part."
Yes.
And then I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "But his collar was really dirty from digging, and I took it off to wash it, and then I put a different collar on him just so he had a collar on while the other one was being washed, and he didn't dig." So then I was like, strange. So then I left it for another day, and he didn't dig, and another day, and he didn't dig, and he hasn't dug since, like because of the collar being changed. And like How friggin' crazy is that? That
Yeah,
he just
see?
it's insane.
It's yeah, see? So you were getting messages that yeah, see?
Yeah.
So it's how it works. Energy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. So,
cool.
but it's interesting how he was communicating to his owner in a weird way that, "Oi, dude, I don't like this collar. I'm going to rip your lawn up."
Yeah. So that I can yeah, get another one. Yeah,
Yeah.
see how it's
Yeah.
amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. It's such an interesting story.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
crazy.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Um, so do you currently have pets of your own?
I do. I currently have a dog and a cat.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he was just my cat was just walking around. Actually, I thought because sometimes he'll come and meow, and even when I'm in sessions, I mean, I work with animals, so people are
Yeah.
always okay with that if he does come in anyway.
Yeah.
And animals can sometimes help. Like there's a lot of people that work as healers, and their animals actually help with the healing. Although I give an animal healing, animals can still then also give healing, you know, to their owner, or he can assist me. So yeah, but I've had a lot of animals in my life. Like I've had goats and fish and ducks and chickens.
Mm.
I don't currently because where I live I can't have those anymore. But yeah, I have experienced a lot of animals, and yeah, so
Yeah.
my cat gets I do a lot of healing with him,
Mm.
and he loves that. Yeah. So, and I
Okay.
share a lot of him on social media as well, and
Yeah.
he's very handsome.
Okay.
And
Um,
he was found. So he came
yeah.
because I wasn't really looking for a cat. So it's like I love cats.
Mm.
I just really didn't know if I was in that was the right time for me, but it was otherwise to happen. And then he came along.
Yeah. Right.
And he was like, yeah, there's a story behind that my dad found him, and he was like left. I don't like to say it too negatively, but he was left with his mum and his two brothers, and we were lucky to save him.
Yeah. Right.
And
Mm.
yeah, so and I got him. I didn't take him. I had known him from a young age. I didn't take him initially. Someone else did, but I still used to see him. So
Mm.
I didn't get him probably till about 8 weeks, but I used to still see him. And then that person asked me if I wanted him, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
yeah, okay. I was like, I'll
Mm.
take him. So yeah, and now it's like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine my life without my little comet. So yeah.
That's beautiful. So you're just constantly just communicating with him like throughout the day.
Yeah, I always talk to him. Like even my dog doesn't live with me all the time. So I talk to him.
Yeah.
So and I do healings for him as well. So yeah, I talk to my cat all the time, and I did some spiritual and psychic development courses. I'm always studying. So
Yeah.
I did some last year, and one of my partners in a homework session, she didn't know I did animal communication. Anyway, so she's like, oh my God, you've got this amazing bond with your cat. And he understands everything you say, and he's always talking to you.
Yeah.
And then when she found out I did animal communication, she was like, oh, that makes sense because
Mm.
yeah, like he does verbally talk to me as well. Like he does meow a lot as well.
Yeah.
But we do send messages to each other, and because I really and I mean, and people generally people do that. Animals do send the humans messages, kind of like how, like with your friend, right? The dog's trying to tell him. So it does
Mm.
happen. Sometimes we just don't always listen, and that's why
Mm.
an animal communicator can come in because we're not emotionally attached to the animal, and that can be the difference as well.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So with my cat, yeah, I definitely he's always talking to me, and I've learned a lot with him, and he's a very old soul. So like I feel like I've been with him before as well, and he's very
Yeah. Okay.
connected to the star systems, which I am as well, very connected to like the star system. So that's why his name's Comet.
Comment. Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so if people that are listening are interested in getting in contact with you,
Yes.
where's the best place for them to find you?
Okay. So I have a Facebook page, and I have Instagram, and then I have my website, so my website is where people can book direct through there or contact me
Yeah.
as well. But on social media, I do share a lot of reviews and stories about what I do. So that's a great way to follow me, even just to learn about what I do. But if they're wanting to contact me any of those ways, so Kelly's Animal Communication on Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
And that's my website as well.
And it's all the same.
Yeah, so kellysanimalcommunication.com.au is my website.
Yeah.
And there are reviews on there as well, but obviously with my Facebook and Instagram, I update them all the time. And so it's interesting to follow, because sometimes I feel like people need to get to know me. Sometimes you have to sort of, it's because of what I do, you really need to be able to be trusted. So sometimes, but some people might want to talk to me before a session. They may not know what session, and I'm fine with that. And then some people will just directly go on and just book through my website. So I'm fine with either way, depending on the situation and what the issue is. I'm fine if people need to talk to me to find out why or what one to choose.
Beautiful. All right. Well, super interesting talking to you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun and I enjoyed it.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. And that's a wrap.